Hello, beautiful people. I just wanted to say a few things about everything that's going on right now. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm all about the love. I love everyone. To me, love just means that you want a person around you, anyone around you, to be as happy and as comfortable as you are. And that's all I want for everybody. I think everybody, I'm not saying everybody deserves the best, but I still hope for the best for them, whatever the case may be. Uh, I love black people. I love gay people. I love Mexican people, Chinese people, fat people, skinny people. I love people. And I love individuals. And it sucks that everybody has to be put into a category. And everybody wants to belong to a group. But once you get in that group, everybody outside that group is an outcast or an outsider or the others, whatever you want to call them. So I believe with all my heart that Black Lives Matter. But to me, that means Black Lives Matter just as much as any other life. Right? Well, here's my thing. I don't think anybody's life, I don't think any life matters intrinsically. I think, I don't think your life matters because you're fucking alive. Okay? I think your actions and your intentions are what really matters. Your connections, above all. It's about connections. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about here. We have become so divided from each other as a people that nobody understands each other anymore. Everybody is the other. Everybody's separated into groups, whether it's religion or shit, even sports teams. It's ridiculous. Everybody separates each other into these little small groups. But you separate yourself from everyone else who's not in those groups. Now, the people who work, let's give an example here. People who work in restaurants, right? They want to go back to work and they feel like their life matters, their job matters, and it does to them because that job, they're connected to that job. They rely on that job for some reason. My family relies on me. I rely on them. Those are my connections. Those are the people that matter to me. Right? But that spreads out when it comes to jobs like that, because the restaurant people, it's not just the people in the kitchen. It's not just the people serving you food. What about the guy that brings their linens? What about the guy that delivers their food? What about the people that, simple as dumping their trash? Everybody is connected. So they matter to each other. Because if that restaurant doesn't come back online or go back into business, all those people are out of a job. So they want the businesses to do well because it's connected to them, right? My family wants me to do well because they rely on me. Those are my connections. Those are the people that matter. And that's what it means to matter, to be significant, to be important to somebody. And without those connections, nobody matters. You don't matter because you're alive. You matter because of the things that you do. Everybody's always hear people saying, who doesn't matter? Pedophiles. Who doesn't matter? Rapists. Who doesn't matter? Murderers. But that's true. Not everybody matters. It depends on what you do. So, we need to make connections. That's what it is, period. We need to make connections, and we need to just give a fuck about each other. That's the main thing, is nobody talks to each other anymore. Everybody's just keeps to themselves. I work as a courier. Every time I'm in an elevator with somebody that I don't know, they either say hi or they just stand in the corner awkwardly. There's no connection there. We're separated from everything, from each other. We're separated from nature. That's why nobody gives a fuck about the environment anymore, because we've separated ourselves in little fucking houses, and everything we need we can go get from the store. Nature doesn't even matter to us anymore. And that's fucking pathetic. Connections, actions, and intentions. That's what makes you matter in this fucking world. There's a man named Daryl Dixon. I believe that's his name. And he's a blues guitarist. And he's been on Joe Rogan's show, podcast. He's been on, he's done some TED Talks. And his claim to fame, basically, this is what happened. He was playing in a bar, a club, or whatever you want to call it, a blues club. He's playing guitar, and after the show, some guy struck up a conversation with him. A white man struck up a conversation with him. Daryl Dixon's a black man. And then they sit down and have a drink, and as they're drinking, the guy tells him, he says, "I've never actually had a drink with a black man." And Daryl kind of chuckled, and the guy said, and he says, "Are you serious?" And the guy says, "Yeah, I'm a member of the KKK." And sure enough, he pulled out his KKK identification card. I don't know what the fuck they need identification cards for. But they chatted, and over the course of a couple weeks, they kept in contact. And eventually, that Klansman, who, if I'm not mistaken, was like a Grand Wizard or Grand fucking Dragon, or I don't know what the fuck they call him, but he was a pretty high-ranking Klansman. He gave Daryl Dixon his hood and robe. And since then, Daryl Dixon has converted over 200 Nazis and KKK members, and basically just made them quit their bullshit, and all it took was connection. All it took was connection. That man had literally never sat down and spoken with a black man before. And when you watch TV, when you watch movies, when you know, all you see is black people being portrayed as criminals. You know, so why would you think anything different if you've never actually had an encounter with one? There was a disconnection there. You had no connection to any black person in the world, and the first one you meet and actually talk to and sit down and have a conversation with, he changes your mind. He changes your world through connection. That's all it's about, people. I don't believe any life matters because it's a life. I don't believe you matter because you're alive. I believe what you do matters, whether it's good or bad. To matter just means to have some importance or some significance. I mean, shit, Jeffrey Dahmer mattered because what mattered to most people was staying the fuck away from someone like that. That matters. That makes a difference in somebody's life. It has some importance because there's a connection there. Now, these black people, the whole Black Lives Matter thing, the reason it's such a big deal to them, the reason that all Black Lives matter to them is because in this country, it could be them. It could be them. It could be you. Black life, they see a black man on the street, that could be their father, that could be their son, that could be their brother, that could be them. That's the significance. That's the connection. The connection is if they can do that to him or to her, then they can do that to me or my family. That's why the Black Lives Matter movement is such a big deal, because to them, that's what they see. They see black people being abused, and I'm sorry, I will never understand that. I'm a Mexican. Y'all probably can't tell. Apparently nobody believes I'm Mexican. I look like a white guy or whatever, but I'm never gonna know prejudice like that. I'm never going to know what it's like to be treated like that, because I don't even look like a Mexican. I've never even been treated like a Mexican. Everybody just, I guess they treat me like a white person. I didn't think I looked like one until recently, because everybody says that shit to me. But anyway, point being, I'll never be able to see that and feel what they feel. And neither with any other white person or Hispanic person or Asian person. Anybody that's not that is not going to get it. Because there's a fear. It's just like if you're in the jungle and a tiger kills you. A tiger kills your friend. You're not going to just be like, oh, it's no big deal. No, you're going to freak out. First of all, because it's your friend. Second of all, because it could have been you. Even if you don't know the person. You see a tiger eating someone, you're going to get the fuck out of there because it could eat you now. And that is why the Black Lives Matter movement is so strong right now, because everybody has seen this shit. And this dude, this cop, he killed that motherfucker. I mean, there was just... It right in your face. It was basically a torture. He tortured him to death. Slowly choked the life out of him. I mean, to be able to do that to someone with no remorse, not even a hesitation on his part, after people are telling you he can't breathe, he's dying, you just sit there and keep on doing what you're doing. I mean, police brutality is an ugly fucking thing, and it's just getting uglier by the day. And the fact that shit like that happens, and this old man gets pushed down, and the cops get fired, and every other cop on that team quit or resigned or whatever the fuck they did, that's ridiculous. That just tells me that every other cop would have done the same thing, and they think it's ridiculous that he was fired for it. You could have killed that man too. How many people have been killed since all this bullshit going on? I know cops are getting killed too. I'm not oblivious to the fact that cops are getting killed too. Cops are people just like everybody else. I fucking love them too. But it sucks that they've become what they've become, because they're loyal to their own. It's just like a fucking street gang. It's become like a street gang. No matter what, you're loyal to your own. You don't rat on your boys. You don't fucking tell on anybody in your group. And no matter what they fucking do, you stand behind them. That's a fucking gang mentality. And you ask anybody that's in a gang, that's what you do. And the fact that they can do that without any accountability is the problem. The accountability has to be there. You know, if we can't do what the fuck we want to do and step on people's fucking necks and kill them, why should you? You're just a person like me. I fucking hate the fact that motherfuckers get all crazy when anybody gets killed. It's a bad thing, right? But it pisses me off when it's a cop or even a military guy. If they're even if they're not killed, if they're just mistreated, and then somebody's like, "Well, he's a cop. How could you treat him like?" He's a fucking man. He's a fucking soldier. No, he's a fucking man. And just like everybody else, cops and soldiers make mistakes. They're fucking people. They're human people. They're not above anything that they're on the same fucking level as we are. Any profession you go into, doctors, lawyers, cops, anything, soldiers even, there's going to be the elite and there's going to be the fucking shitty end. Some people suck at their job. There's no fucking doubt about it. There's going to be the best doctor in the world somewhere, and somewhere in the world there's the fucking worst doctor in the world. I hope none of you go to him. But you don't know that, because at that time you're just dealing with that one fucking person. But it's still just a person. Stop putting these people on pedestals because of a fucking job. That's their job. And it shouldn't make them, it shouldn't elevate them to a higher level than the rest of us. And that's part of the problem, is that we make these cops feel like they're something fucking special. No, they're not. They're just men with guns. They're just men with guns. That's the only difference between him and me. Honestly, what does a cop do that any person with a gun couldn't do? You know? What do cops do when you call them? They show up and what? They either talk to you or they arrest you. What do they do that I couldn't do if I just had a gun? The only reason you listen to them is because they have a gun. Not because they're fucking smarter than you, not because they're a better person. No, they just because they have a fucking gun and they're gonna force you to do what the fuck they want you to do. Well, I feel like I'm starting to ramble now, but you get the point. We need to connect with each other. If there's no connection, I don't give a fuck about people that I'm not connected to. I love everyone. But if somebody dies, even a fucking celebrity, it's like, oh shit, that sucks. But it's not going to affect my life. It's not going to affect my life. It's not going to change anything about me. If you're connected to someone, then them passing away or them going away, it affects you. So why would it matter to these people if someone they're not connected to dies? It doesn't fucking matter, And everybody starts getting all riled up about, I fucking can't stand when people say, well, white people get killed by the cops too. Why isn't there a big uproar about? Well, you fucking tell me, white people. Why isn't there? Why don't you get upset? Why don't you fucking defend your people like the black people do? Why don't we get up in arms over a white man being killed by the cop? We should. It's still a man. It's not black people's fault that white people don't get mad when white people get killed. Black people, like I said, they feel a kinship to each other because they're still the minority. They're still a small group in a fucking large group of people that most of the people are not everybody's racist, but I mean, it's probably about 50-50 in the nation right now, honestly. Goddamn, it's fucking crazy. But there's a lot of things that they deal with on a daily basis that we'll never fucking know about. So all these motherfuckers talking about, what about the white people and what about the cops that are getting killed? That's fine. I get it. I understand. That sucks too. But don't use that to fucking downgrade what happened to this man, to George Floyd. Don't use other instances to take away from what happened to this man. And don't act like this whole thing is because of this man. It's because of George Floyd. All this shit isn't just because of George Floyd. It's because of years and decades and centuries of fucking bullshit that they've had to deal with. Like I said, I love everybody, man. I really do. I hope for the best for everyone. I've gone through the years. It sucks sometimes because I've studied and done so much research into psychology and personalities and all that shit. It's hard for me to even get mad at people anymore because everything people do, I understand. Even though I don't agree with it most of the time, I understand why people do fucked up shit. And a lot of times it's because that's their view of life. That's all they fucking know. That's all they fucking see. It's just like that man who had never talked to a black man. He was a racist man. He was a hateful person. Not because he had hate in his heart, but because he was afraid of somebody he didn't know and somebody who was completely detached from. There's no connection whatsoever between the races anymore. Everybody wants to be their own thing, and I'm guilty of it too. I've gotten to a point in my life where I can't. It's hard for me to rely on people, so I stay disconnected purposely because I know that no matter what happens, I'll be good because I did whatever I did on my own. Whether I'm working out, trying to change my diet, whatever it is I do, I don't look for personal trainers. I don't look for coaches because I don't want to have to rely on somebody else to do that for me. I've disconnected myself from people, and it sucks, because I see it now. And I'm gonna try and fix that. But that's what we've become. We live in a world where it's all about competition. It's all about me, me, me. If you have more than me, then that means I can't have what you got, because you got it all already. So it's like I have to take yours. I have to get mine, so I'm going to take yours. And that's what the world has become because the society we live in is based on competition and based on fear. Fear that you won't have money to pay your rent, that you won't have money to feed your children, and if somebody else gets a job, you don't get it. You know, it's we're our whole world is based on competition. So it pulls us apart because they make a game out of it, and we're not all on the same team anymore. We should be on the same team. Now, I can talk for another hour if you let me, but I don't want to fucking do that because it's already 20 minutes. I'm sure y'all getting bored of my bullshit, but I just had to say what I got to say, man, because nobody's talking about it, you know? Nobody's talking about what to do about this shit. Everybody's just like, fuck this guy and fuck that guy and fuck them and fuck Black Lives Matters and fuck the Antifa. What the fuck, Antifa? It's everything. And fuck everybody. That's all I'm hearing. Nobody's talking about connection. Nobody's talking. Everybody's just fucking screaming at each other. So we need to sit down. We need to talk. We need to connect. These fucking cops are working in cities that their cities are so big, they don't know these fucking people. They're not accountable to any of them. It's not their parents out there in the middle of the streets fucking protesting. It's not their kids or their family or their friends. You know, these cities are so big that, you know, you don't know anybody. You don't know anyone. You don't feel accountable to anybody in your fucking community. You're serving this community, but as soon as you walk into it, you expect them to be the enemy. I'm saying you and cops. Cops walk into a neighborhood or any incident, any call they get, you know, they show up ready to be treated like shit, ready to be talked shit to, ready to, you know, cops, they walk into shit ready for a fight. Especially when you show up with fucking riot gear and all that bullshit. What do you expect to happen? I mean, come on, guys. Just fucking open your mind. That's all I gotta say.